on a classic fucking
Mm-hmm.
fight, bro. This was a classic fight, bro. This
I
was
agree.
real boxing that we seen in that fight, bro. Them boys fought to the end, bro. They
Mm-hmm.
brought it out, bro. They put everything out there on the line, man. They left their hearts out there, man. And those
That's
are the
true.
fights that I truly enjoy watching right there, man. For real. Like that shit gave me a real old school feel on boxing watching that fight earlier, man. I'm like, I love this fight between these two dudes, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
two dudes just going at it, just wilding out, just brawling it out, putting everything on the line, man. That shit was just
Mm-hmm.
amazing to watch today, bro. Like, I salute to both of these guys, man, before we even get started talking about this main event, man, because this was a beautiful fight. Beautiful fight. I
It
enjoyed
was
every
a.
second of this fight.
To be honest, I don't think you ever gonna see nothing like that again unless you run into another big grudge match. You never gonna see nothing like that again. Because the style of boxing nowadays isn't to have fights like that. It's to be real tactical, be timed. I think your camera messing up, but yeah, be tactical, be timed, more calculated. That's the style of boxing today. So the way they fought was real old school. Honestly, similar to how their dads fought. So I
Facts.
just feel like you ain't gonna see that. That was that was like a rerun of the past, in my opinion, because you ain't gonna see that again, man.
Facts, facts, bro. Like I totally enjoy these guys, bro. Like Conor being man, the scorecards was crazy. Let me hold on. Let me go to that because that was interesting, man. About this fight, man. Just to kind of talk about it a
So
little bit, bro.
this is me, but the scorecards, like I'm gonna be honest, Conor being
116 times, 116, 112 times for Chris Eubank Jr., bro. Like that, I ain't gonna lie. I felt like the fight was closer than that. I gotta
I
be real.
here's why I agree, but here's why I'm not too mad at it. Because first off, we was in Eddie Hearn house. I thought Eddie was gonna have Conor win somehow. I thought Eddie Hearn, because if you listen to the commentary, them commentators was mainly trying to egg on Conor Ben. You get what I'm saying? So I
Right.
thought Eddie Hearn was gonna pull some tricks or something like that and get Conor Ben to win that. Number two, if you look at the fight, Conor had like moments, but Eubank is who had the momentum the whole time. Like Conor, he'll land one shot and not finish Eubank off, or land a shot and not finish him and stuff. So it's like Eubank, I think Eubank had way more punches that he landed. So, and then on top of that, on TV, we probably didn't get a good enough view as the judges got. So I wasn't too mad at it. I think it should have been 15-13, but I had Eubank winning either way it went. So either it didn't matter to me either way it went. I didn't want it to be no draw because I don't think a rematch need to happen. I really don't.
Bro, yeah, bro. 116, 112 for all three judges, bro. I felt like Eubank won by at least around at least. Man, I thought Eubank had the edge of the fight. But
Yeah.
that fight was definitely close, though. Definitely fucking close.
I
Oh,
I
D1, my boy D1 said that fight wasn't closest as people say. It was literally Chris Eubank winning almost every round. I gave Connor 3 rounds. That's it. Oh, okay. I felt like it was
I
a little
mean, I'm
closer
gonna
than
be
that, in
real,
my
man.
opinion.
I gave
I
Connor
see. I
probably
see what
about
D1
four.
saying, though. I see what
Yeah,
D1 saying.
I gave Connor probably 4 rounds, but here's why I don't want to see a rematch. I didn't. So everybody kept looking at Ben, not Ben, looking at Eubank, thinking Eubank hurt. Eubank wasn't hurt in some of the moments. He was drained. He was drained and kept trying to have to dig out and fight again. He had to keep digging down and fight again. He looked drained. Because I went back and replayed some of it. Some of the times when people say he was stunned, he didn't even get hit with a punch. He just was stuck and out of breath. He was just
Yeah.
drained. No, a rematch don't need to happen, man, because I think a rematch should probably be a. I mean, it might be entertaining because now they both been in the ring with each other and stuff like that. So it might be a little bit more interesting. But I don't want to see Eubank go down to 160 again. I don't. I don't want to see him go down to 160. I don't want Conor to try to come up to 168. Conor, you said you got Mario Barrios next. Go focus on Mario Barrios, man. Your dad lost to him twice. You lost to him once. It's three. Wait, no, it's 2-0. It's 2-0 and
Two.
1.
Yeah. Two.
It
zero and
ain't
one.
worth. It ain't worth. Even if he beat Chris Eubank one time, the score is still lopsided. So it don't make sense for a rematch at all.
They still got a and they got a rematch clause on that fight, which is kind of crazy to me because I was like, Damn, why
Exactly.
would
That's
they have a
stupid.
fucking rematch clause for that
Exact.
fight?
Chris Eubank is old. The man like 35, 36. Why you got a rematch clause on him? Like, I don't think so. I think this fight need to go how Crawford and Spence went. That's how I need to go. That rematch clause need to just wave off into the dust and stuff. Now, Eubank, I think Eubank needs to honestly, I think Eubank probably about done though. Like, I think the only reason Eubank dug deep because of the history of this fight. We seen Eubank get stopped before. We seen him get lazy before. Eubank he got a bad habit of getting lazy when he fight. I ain't gonna lie. I
Did you
seen it in the
think? Did
first
you
two
think?
rounds.
What did you think about Eubank's condition? Like both guys conditioned in the fight.
Honestly, Conor Benn's conditioning looked not as good as I thought it was gonna be. I'm gonna be honest. And Eubank's conditioning looked like I thought it was gonna be because I thought he was gonna be drained. Eubank looked like he was
Right.
slowing down around the fourth. Then he'd have spurts where he'd come back, then he'd slow down.
Yeah.
But Connor slowed down as the rounds got later and later. You know what I'm saying? So I was surprised by Connor looking gassed as he was. I don't think Connor expected Eubank to come out like he did. But the fight don't need to happen again, point blank, period. Uh Eubank Senior keep on talking about he want to see Canelo and Eubank. I'd rather Canelo go ahead and beat Eubank and let Eubank run off in the sunset with a top fight and stuff than to have him fight Ben again. I don't. It ain't worth the fight again. It's not worth it. It's all settled. It's
Facts.
all
I
settled,
mean,
man.
yeah, like I honestly, bro, like it's tough to see Eubank stay at 160, bro, because he look like he
Exactly.
definitely need to be at
He was
168 right
drained.
now.
You could see his cheekbone.
Like
He lost.
he missed weight for this fight, and he's the guy that fight at the weight class. Like, you
Exactly.
know what I mean? Like, it definitely looked like he was drained through the fight, but I mean, Eubank, I felt like the condition was up to normal what I thought would have happened. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think he was gonna be like in 100% great shape, like great shape. I mean, he was in great. I could say both of them was in great shape because they both took a lot of punishment in this fight. Both of them
Hmm.
fight on the inside and the back half of the fight, brawling and out like the last 3 rounds. It was all inside. Ain't no fight on the
Hmm.
outside. I was a little worried with. I was a little worried with Eubank's footwork because he flat footed. He definitely flat footed in
He
the
fight like
motherfucker.
his dad. He circled around on
And
his blind side the whole time.
yeah, so I was a little worried because Conor Ben was taking some good little angles and his hand speed. I felt like his hand speed was a little faster than Chris Eubanks too.
It was kind of problem was you could see his hooks coming. He'd dig that shoulder down and he'd overhand them hooks almost. So his hooks,
Eh,
every time he seen that shoulder go down, Chris would duck every time and he missed every last hook by doing that.
Right, and Chris kept that jab on par
Hmm.
throughout the whole fight, which that paid a lot of dividends. I was watching D1. I was watching you earlier. I went in the comments. But I was watching you earlier. You was talking about his jab. Talking about Chris Eubank jab. Well, I was watching
Hmm.
OG. My bad. I was watching KQKC while he was commentating the fight earlier, and I seen D1. You was in the comments. You was talking about Chris Eubank's jab. Yeah, his jab was on point throughout the whole fight. Man, it was keeping.
Yeah.
It was keeping him, not being so being a little bit unpredictable in the fight, as far as with Connor and shit.
Yeah, this fight don't need to happen again. But what's crazy to me, man, like we spoke about, I think this is Turkey highest selling fight, possibly. You think it is?
Yeah, I mean that crowd was amazing there. I ain't gonna lie, that was an amazing
Yeah.
crowd that was there. You know what I mean? And Turkey was up there just cheesing like a motherfucker after the
That's the
fight,
first time he
shaking
made his money.
both
That's why.
hands and all of that.
That's
He was cheesing like motherfucker. Like that's how I sell out some shit because I ain't selling
exactly.
out shit, and none of my other fights can't sell shit in Saudi Arabia.
Bro, that's the first fight that actually gave me like a feeling, man. Like I watched that fight, Chris dad to come out with him, and then Nigel come out with his son. Connor came out to the same song his dad came out to and everything. It's
Yeah,
like they
that was
wore the
dope.
same thing they dads wore when they fought. They wore the same colors and everything. And like and
Right.
knowing the story of senior and junior, how the father and son don't get along, and now his father put everything aside and still showed up for his son, and the fight taking place. That fight has had like emotion behind it. It wasn't just two guys just fighting like any other boxing match. You know, he fight him because he's number three and he's number five or something. It actually was like something on the line. So that's why I say you never gonna see a fight like this again, man. You unless Lamont Roach Jr. fight Tank Jr. or something, you ain't gonna see
Bro,
nothing like
I'm
this.
look I'm looking at some shit right here right now. The AI judges for this fight scored it 117-111 for Eubank.
It's because the punches he landed. That's why. Eubank was landing a lot of punches. That's why. Like Eubank could get in the inside and start throwing a lot of punches. They wasn't effective at first or nothing like that. But because he landed so much more, and really the crowd was really leaning towards Eubank. Honestly, the only person that was going crazy for Conor was the commentators and Eddie Hearn. That was it. And I was scared Eddie Hearn was going to pull a trick to make Eubank lose. I really thought that's what was going to happen.
Well, I thought the fix was in, bro.
I really did because the whole way all everybody been talking about was all the younger guy this, the younger guy that. There's no way Eubank wins. He's the older guy, and then you know how Eddie Hearn and Turkey how they tied up. So I was like, yeah, he gonna find a way to get away with that.
Facts. Yeah, and I was looking at after just looking at some comments after the fight, Chris Eubank, he
Mhm.
said, I knew I was capable of that. I just needed someone to bring it out of me. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect he'd be the guy. But the fact that our fathers did what they did all those years ago, it brings out a different soul, a different spirit in you. And then Conor Ben, immediately after the fight, said, we always knew Chris is a great fighter. All the fighting talk is fighting talk. He's a good fighter. I would love to avenge that loss. My next move is either Mario Barnes for the WBC World Title or the rematch with Chris.
Now, look, this is the point. This is the part. This is the other side of things I want to bring up. That performance that Eubank had, and that performance that Conor had against top American fighters, they would have got ran through because
I
it was way too many
agree.
flaws. It was way when Eubank started off the way his stance was, his feet was starting in the first round. I said no, something no. I said no. Benn, whoever at 168 would have ran. Caleb Plant would have ran through him. Caleb Plant would have ran through
I
Eubank.
agree.
Then looking at Ben, like Ben throws those wild punches and everything. Boots would have ran through Ben. He would have counted
But
him
that,
every time.
but it's a reason. It's a
Yeah,
reason why motherfucker Ben won't get fed to boost by Eddie Hearn, bro. Eddie
yeah.
Hearn know what's up, man. He know what's up with that,
And
man.
another thing I want you to think
He
about.
know Ben can't be boost.
Look, think about this too. Ben ain't strong as you think he is. Ben has 14 knockouts out of 20 something wins. And the last few fights he had, he didn't knock the guy down at least. And he ain't knocked down a drained Chris Eubank. And Eubank, his last fight before this one, he got knocked down. So Ben is not powerful as everybody think he is. He just throw punches with mean
Facts.
intent and he leans forward on each punch to make him look stronger. Whenever Eubank closed the gap, he couldn't load up on punches, so he just sat there and sat on the ropes the whole time. So that's why I'm saying against the top elite American fighter, both of them would have lost. But that fight was a good
Facts.
fight to happen because it was actually a fight. It wasn't a boxing match. That was a fight. That still looked good for them though. But whoever they fight outside of each other next, they might be fooled.
Facts. And then I'm gonna read something for what Chris Eubank Sr. said. He said he couldn't move around the ring, so he had to stand toe to toe. That is
Mhm.
legendary behavior. I am so proud. That's my son.
Yeah, you don't see warrior fights no more. You don't see people getting there and just fight. Literally, like you said, fight like everything depend on it. You don't see that no more. Everything nowadays is just tactical fighting. You just trying to be the best counterpuncher nowadays, or that's how it is. It ain't fighting no more.
Facts.
It's more boxing now than fighting. It's more boxing. So
Facts, bro. And then of course, Chris Eubank Jr., he ended up, precautionary check out, to the hospital. And I seen a lot of people on the internet like, oh, Conor Ben, he sent Eubank to the hospital and all of that. I'm
he
like,
was
bro,
drained.
like
They say he was throwing up. The man was drained.
I wasn't even thinking about like the fight in general. I'm just thinking that the man, no, the weight and everything, because he couldn't weigh over 170 on fight night because
Mm-hmm.
he missed weight yesterday. So like he had to keep his weight in check. He could if he was able to blow up over 70 pounds, man, Chris Eubank probably would have been motherfucking 180, 190 in there tonight.
Bro, people don't realize let somebody drain them down 20 pounds, 30 pounds below they walk around weight and then tell them to go play a sport for an hour or something without hydrating. Let's see how they look. It
Facts.
ain't gonna look good. Let LeBron get dehydrated down to like 180 pounds and go play basketball for one game. Watch him go to the hospital after that.
Facts. Jag Queen says Eddie keeps him away from real fighters. That's a fact. Two Cents
Yeah, Eddie gonna
Boxing was
keep.
good. Salute the Two Cents Boxing. Everybody, make sure y'all subscribe to Two Cents Boxing over there, man. Amazing
We got a lot of
content on the
content.
boxing side, man. That's my sis. That's family. So make sure y'all show love to sis for sure. And D1, the reality is Conor Ben doesn't punch hard enough to deal with no one 168 pounders. He would have
Mm-hmm.
been ran through by a big American. Facts. Definitely a fact
Conor
for
Ben
sure.
probably lose to Lara at 160. There's Lenny Lara. He'll lose to him.
Hell yeah.
He'll lose to
Laura
him.
definitely be Ben. Laura, Laura, he's slick as hell. He'll definitely lose to him for sure.
Jamal Charlo. I mean, who at 160 now? Jamal 168 now. So no, I didn't even. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I think I would watch Eubank versus Jamal. I would watch that.
Eubank
I
versus
think.
Jamal at 168. It had to be
I
at
think that's. I
68 for
think that
sure.
that might be a good fight because Jamal not really looking as sharp as he was, and Eubank. Well, they both had the same trainer for a little bit. They both was with Roy Jones for a little bit, so I don't know if that ever happened.
Facts, facts,
But
facts.
I
Man,
was watching Sean Porter, and Sean Porter said a good point about Chris Eubank. He said Chris Eubank went and trained with Roy Jones, and Roy Jones rely on athleticism a lot. Eubank is not
right.
athletic as he think he is to be moving and putting his hand down, trying to dip. He ain't. He was slow. You're not that athletic, be moving like that.
Slow as hell, bro.
Yeah, you're not
Slow as
athletic enough.
hell.
They both would have got toe up fighting top competition. Eubank would have lost to Caleb Plant. We ain't even gonna talk about Canelo, and Ben would have lost to Boot. He might have a tough fight with Barrios. We don't even know.
Yeah. Big play sports. Salute my dog. Bro, Eubank's chin held up great tonight. He ate up some nice shots, had a great clinch game, and threw his overhands with precision.
And he was drained. Got hit and was drained and stayed up.
In Two Cents boxing, he said, "Stop it, Eubanks versus Jamal. Hell nah, bro. Why these fighters keep training with Roy?
They both
I
trained with
don't. Hey,
Roy.
that's crazy. A lot of
They
dudes
both
be
trained
going
with
over to
Roy.
Roy, and Roy, I ain't gonna lie. Some of them dudes be losing over there with Roy. That's dudes. So I can't speak for the
I
Roy
noticed
Jones.
every time somebody train with Roy, they lose. Because Jamal trained with Roy, he looked terrible. Jared Anderson trained with Roy and got beat by Bacole. Uh, what's the name? Left Roy. Eubank left Roy, and he went back to his original trainer. So I don't know. That style that Roy Jones had worked for his time, but today it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work, and he's teaching everybody that style, and those people he's teaching are not as athletic as he was. You know what I'm saying?
Two
So they
Cents,
can't do that same stuff.
Two Cents Banks barely made it. Facts. Level Sports. If he beats Eubank in a rematch, I think he could stop Canelo. He's young.
You think Ben can
Uh,
stop Canelo?
nah,
What?
hell
Who
no.
said
That's
that?
some dude level
Hey,
sports
I
right